Today we're visiting two of the most iconic places in South Dakota, Mount Rushmore and Sylvan Lake. Mount Rushmore is one of the most recognizable landmarks in America, carved into the granite of the Black Hills. We'll explore the memorial and learn about how it was carved. Nearby, Sylvan Lake offers beauty and recreation, and we'll hike one of the most scenic trails in the Black Hills. We're Matt and Cheryl, and in May of 2024, we did a 10-day road trip through the Black Hills and Yellowstone. Welcome to day 2 of our adventure. Just driving to Mount Rushmore shows off some of the beauty of the Black Hills. In fact, this was the main reason the memorial was built, to draw people to the Black Hills so they would find out how pretty and amazing they are. Okay, if you drive to Mount Rushmore in the right direction, you can see this profile of George Washington up there. Originally, Thomas Jefferson was supposed to be on this side of Washington. We would have been able to see both of them, but the rock would not cooperate, so Jefferson had to be moved to the other side, giving us just this profile of Father George. They do not charge you to enter Mount Rushmore. You don't even need a park pass or fee or anything like that. But they do charge you $10 parking. So even if you do have a park pass, you're still gonna pay $10 in parking. All right, baby, we're here, Mount Rushmore National Memorial. You walk through here and you see the faces up there. It's good to be back. Cheryl's paying for her parking here. I think it's fun to see all the people gathered around, looking at the faces and taking their photos. Unlike most national parks, there's a lot of politics about Mount Rushmore, so they have a little section over here for First Amendment activities, they're calling it. So just kind of anybody can set up a booth to do whatever they want to do, I guess. One thing to be aware of if you come to Mount Rushmore, you can get a self-guided tour. Just listen to this as you go around the park. They have a little map here with the different locations to play it. And I think she said it's about an hour and a half if you play it at every location. And over here they have a list of all the workers who worked on the memorial. This is a bust of the eccentric carver of Mount Rushmore, a man named Gutzon Borglum. Borglum was a stereotypical difficult genius. He was an amazing artist, but burned nearly every bridge he encountered. But it was his audacious vision, tenacity, and artistic proficiency that brought together Mount Rushmore. Interestingly, he died just before the project was completed, and his son took over the project and saw it through to completion. His name was Lincoln, named because his father Gutzon loved Abraham Lincoln so much. This is the Avenue of Flags, which was originally established in 1976 to celebrate the bicentennial of America, and it was renovated as recently as 2021. There are 56 flags flying here, one for each U.S. state and territory, and they are displayed in alphabetical order. It's a grand entrance to the main viewing platform of the memorial.
I'm learning some new things that I thought are pretty fun. Like one, that's like a big 500-step climb up to those. And these poor workers, they were not on the clock during the climb. The punch machine was at the top of the mountain. And then the stories about Gutzon being difficult just continue on. That he would fire all these workers and his son would have to like go behind his dad's back and rehire them to get the job done. And then being a professional mountain carver was not a job. And so they'd had to hire like miners, carpenters, people like that. But they also hired baseball players because they wanted to have a good baseball team. So they'd like hire them for their baseball skills and teach them how to do all this. But Gutzon just liked to be in charge of everything, even things that he didn't really know much about. And so if they played poorly, Gutzon would rip into them, even though he didn't really know anything about baseball.
This is the Visitor Center, which is named after Gutzon's son, Lincoln Borglum, who not only finished the project, but became the park's first superintendent. The museum has an older video explaining the carving process, and my understanding is they are working on a newer video. The memorial took 14 years to carve, and incredibly, none of the 400 memorial workers died during construction, which is amazing considering all the scaffolding they walked on, the ropes they hung from, the machinery they used, and all the dynamite explosions. Hopefully this photo gives us an appreciation for how big Mount Rushmore is. It's kind of hard to tell from the viewing deck, but to think that a person is not even as tall as Washington's nose is pretty cool. A real appreciation for the guy who first envisioned it, the guy who Don Robinson, the guy who carved it, Gutzon Borglum, who we love hearing stories about him, right?
Yes.
And his son.
Lincoln, yep. And for the employees that dealt with Gutson. We have appreciation for them too.
And the baseball players. Now we are going to go on the Presidential Trail, which is a walk down by the faces. The Presidential Trail is about a half-mile loop that leads to the base of the mountain and provides different perspectives of the faces with interpretive panels about each president along the way. You can also see the rubble, which was left behind from the explosions. It was never cleaned up because it cost too much and was never considered a hindrance to the monument. My guess is people don't even really notice it, and the trees that grow within the rocks mostly camouflage it anyway. One of the things I like about this audio guide is when you push the numbers, it'll give you a little information. But if you want to do a little bit deeper dive, you just push the pound key, and then it'll tell you even more. So you kind of have the option, a little bit of flexibility there to learn more if you want. By the way, I have a master's in history, and I've created our own audio guide for Mount Rushmore and the Black Hills, in which I discuss the importance of each president, why they were included on the memorial, the crazy Gutson Borglum and the construction process, as well as the larger and deeper history of the Black Hills. Speaking of which, our next stop is the Lakota Village, which was established here in 2008. We happened to arrive just as a Lakota man was teaching a crowd.
This is a cherry stick. Underneath here is a buffalo hair. And then I wrapped it with leather and then I sewed it together.
Okay, over here they have a Lakota Village is what they're calling it. 2 teepees. And then a little presentation area. So right now we have somebody giving a presentation over there.
We took pride in everything that we made, and it was meaningful between our people to do those types of things for one another. But today it's completely different. So if you go on the reservation down there, you'll find artists actually making the traditional porcupine quill work, some of the other material, the drums, the moccasins, clothing of different kinds. The songs of our people, they tell different things about our people.
Mount Rushmore and the Black Hills have a complicated history, and I do mean complicated. It takes time to do the subject justice, so I'm not going to risk oversimplifying it here. I cover this in more detail in my own audio guide, which I would encourage you to check out if you're visiting the Black Hills. This fellow here is named Daryl Red Cloud, and his grandfather was Chief Red Cloud, who won the Fetterman battle, pretty big battle out in the plains of Wyoming and Montana. Okay, well, that was a very nice experience listening to Red Cloud's grandson give a presentation.
And I think it's so neat that they're involving the indigenous people here, because you get to learn so much about their way of life from them. You know, like, it's one thing to read about it in a visitor center. It's another to meet an actual person from the Lakota tribe and hear them talk about their way of life and their history. And it really enriches Mount Rushmore and the Black Hills, because you hear the history of, settling the American frontier, but also the people that lived here thousands of years before. It just helps give you a really well-rounded and appreciation for all the people.
Okay, so you can see the faces up there, and then down here, just kind of a forested area. We've seen wildlife down here before, some deer, and really just a peaceful, nice area to go for a walk. I like it here. Okay, now time to go up to the sculpture studio, learn more about how they sculpted it. So this was the original working sculpture and model that they used, and it was at a 1-to-1 ratio. So 1 inch here was 1 foot on the wall, which is kind of fascinating. And then if you look up on Lincoln's forehead here, thing on his forehead, so they actually dropped that from a stick above. And that's kind of how they measured like where the stuff was moving. And that is just crazy. They would actually do that out on the mountain. Wild stuff. The steps, you got to plan it out with that sculpture. And then they used dynamite to get most of it off. And then they would start to fine-tune it basically with hammers and chisels. We've enjoyed using the audio guide to learn about it, but the other thing that we've kind of liked about it is that it's just caused us to take a little bit more time, a couple of hours to wander around down by the faces, and then around here we stopped at that Lakota presentation. So it's actually just been really peaceful and kind of a nice way to just spend the morning. One of the things that's been fun to see how many families are here. You know, everybody's bringing their kids to see the famous site and appreciate America. All right, you have a good morning at Mount Rushmore?
Oh my gosh, coming here in the morning is so pretty with the light on the mountain. He said that was one of the qualifications that Getson had, was when he was looking for a spot to do, was he needed to find a spot where the light would hit the mountain and kind of just make it glow, and it does. It's so pretty.
Okay, they have a little restaurant here where you can grab something and then come out onto the deck here and eat. Oh, you got some views of Mount Rushmore there. You got a couple of different options here. Buffalo Burgers, it covers Marketplace, and then Rushmore Roasters over there. We decided to try out the food here at Mount Rushmore. You can sit out here in the open area right with the faces. It's pretty cool. I got buffalo chili and a buffalo burger. The buffalo burger's okay. The chili's pretty good. So they have ice cream here. There's named Memorial Team Ice Cream after the baseball team that we learned about earlier. And it is actually the original recipe that Thomas Jefferson created for vanilla ice cream, which is pretty cool. We had some last time we were here and it was very good, but we're not going to do it today because the line is super long in there. Okay, we've made it to the gorgeous Sylvan Lake. Okay, time to go for a little walk around the lake. I'm gonna do a little hike on the other side of it.
Yeah, well, we've been to Sylvan Lake. Like every year we come, we always go to Sylvan Lake, but we've never done the hikes beyond. So we're pretty excited. We're doing the Sunday Gulch Trail and the, what's the other one?
Cathedral Spires.
Oh, Cathedral Spires. Yep, 2 special hikes today.
Now, last time we did the Black Elk Peak, which is up there in those rocks up there, and it's the highest peak in South Dakota. It was an unforgettable hike. I loved it. Beautiful meadows, wildflowers, a lot of rock formations, and then a tower on top. It was once a post office. It's cool.
Sylvan Lake is the crown jewel of the Black Hills. It's a small man-made lake that's perfect for families to play in the water. But today we're heading behind the lake to a little ravine called Sunday Gulch.
Oh yeah, how cool. Yeah, look at this little slut canyon here. It's great.
The Black Hills don't have nearly the recognition of the towering Rocky Mountains, but don't be fooled, they are every bit as beautiful and enjoyable as the more famous mountains to the west. This trail has it all: forests, river crossings, views of the spiky formations, and a little adventure. This gulch was used by gold miners, and supposedly their wives would go for a walk through the gulch on Sundays, giving this the name Sunday Gulch.
What a great area. Okay, here we go. We're getting to a really fun section here. Crossing the rocks and the river. Okay, a little spot here. We're gonna hop across the rocks. Such a fun hike. This hike has been fantastic. It's had a lot of variety to it, really great rock formations, and then an incredible gulch with the river, and gosh, just really scenic, fairly difficult. Everything is either up or downhill. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can hold on to the camera for this one. Oh. Okay, we're going up and through a little. Oh, I made it. Cheryl's killing it. She's got a bum ankle too. Here's the payoff. This view. Actually, that payoff was the Gulch.
Oh yeah, that was an adventure hike. That was fun.
Another win for the Black Hills. Great hiking.
This was just an incredibly gorgeous day for a visit to Sylvan Lake and a wonderful hike through Sunday Gulch. After the hike, we scoped out the Sylvan Lake Lodge for our travel guide. It was built in 1937 and it has 35 rooms and 37 cabins, some of which overlook the lake, as does the back veranda. This would be a great place to stay or dine during your trip. Now we're heading to Legion Lake, which is another beautiful little lake that's great for swimming and kayaking. The Legion Lake Lodge sits on the edge and there are several cabins that you can stay in here as well. I'm taking a little break in the lodge while Cheryl heads out on the lake in the kayak.
So Matt was nice, even though he does not love the water. He made sure I got to get on the lake. And so normally we get kayaks and canoes at Sylvan Lake, but today we thought we would try out Legion Lake just because there's more than one spot you can get out on the water. And even though Legion Lake is smaller, there are less crowds than there are at Sylvan. And so if Sylvan's a little crazy and nuts, Legion is a good backup option.
So what did we learn today? Well, we learned that Mount Rushmore is best lit in the morning, that the audio guide was well worth the money and time, and that the food was just okay. We also learned that Sunday Gulch is a really beautiful and worthwhile hiking adventure, and that Legion Lake is a nice little spot to kayak. We learned that Mount Rushmore had a baseball team, and that Cheryl likes kayaking while Matt does not. Now it's your turn to share what you've learned in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed day 2 of our Black Hills adventure. If you missed day 1, you can watch it here. And if you want to see all the videos from this trip, check out the playlist here. Thanks for watching, and until next time, go west, young traveler.